Hey, how you doing out there today? Remo back. We are out on my new Timber Creek map, as you can see. This is going to be the logging version of her logging map in the Highway Haulin 3 region. Every map's going to have a very specific focus. Probably the next one is going to be like the oil drilling and stuff. We'll have a little more focused whole map built around that, but gist of this one is it's going to be an old logging area that we're going to kind of get set up and restarted. Most of the stuff is either going to come from or go over to the Middlebrook County map, which is the first map of the Highway Haulin 3 region, and the whole experience will get a lot better than the single map version once I get these two mashed together. What we're doing here today is just a quick little crawling spot we're looking at first. We're going to look at a bunch of different areas that I've been working on this week. We got the IR Brick 250, and gonna say first run up here, I can definitely go a little bit deeper on the ditches and the steepness of the hill. I'm going to try and add in some areas to just kind of play around with trucks like this, and you can see there's a swamp afterwards, and again, this is probably more of a try and have some fun with a vehicle than a viable trail, but I'm sure you'll all find a good use for it. Got some pretty good thick mud here, which is going to be kind of the motif of this map. In the muddy areas, going to be lots of swamps and stuff. We're stuck. Now we're going to head over. I'm starting a big swamp. It's going to be pretty much like the Highway Haulin 2 Bentwood map, where you have to build the log road. The Artful Codger, one of my channel members there, said he really enjoyed building that road, so I figured I could do a very similar kind of setup here in terms of giving you, this is probably going to be your best road to get from main road across out to the back into the forest area, where you're going to be setting up some of the the logging shop. There's going to be some cottages and stuff out there, but this is going to be one where you can deliver. I'll probably make it like a load of logs. I'll do two sections. There's probably 12 or 15 sections, so it'll be a fair bit of hauling, but give you a straight shot across the swamp. This mud is not even close to deep enough right now, and you can see I'm kind of building up a bit of a rock face cliff in the background there, so as much about exploring and looking good right now, but this is an area I have been working on, not even close to done, but get you a good view of what's coming. And another mission that we're going to be having in there. Now what we're doing is we're in the RSK Ural. We're going to go for some runs in around the forest. Basically, right now this kind of side of the map, which is the gravel pit, we're going to go down all the way over and see it again. I went in it in the last video, which is going to be stuff that's going to get hauled from this map back over to Middlebrook in terms of the concrete factory. But I have been working on putting in a whole bunch of trails. This map is going to, you'll find it somewhat confusing if I'm doing my job right, because there are big trails, small trails, things loop around back into the same trail. There's all sorts of connectors around, so it's going to be one of those ones that won't have a whole lot of straightforward shots to get to where you're going. It's going to be fairly challenging. In general right now, this road is pretty indicative of what I've put throughout the area. Like, there's nothing too crazy. A lot of the roads get quite a bit tighter as we get out into the forest, but I haven't really rutted it out too bad. I'm going to go through this area and make it a little bit more challenging, but in general, it should be pretty realistic look at what you're going to be logging through. Now you can see here, this is going to be a mission where you have to deliver these rocks to fill in this big rut. I haven't set up the tasks, so they just show there, but those will disappear, and it's a pretty steep little washout. So another example of some of the things that we're going to be working on to get this road system back together. There's going to be a bunch of bridge builds around areas. Any ideas you have on things like that, but I definitely, right now I'm laying it road system, and then I'm going to kind of go back through and create some more challenges. Like, we're going to be driving along a really nice cliff face here, or edge, and I intend on working the trail so that it kind of tips you off to the side a little bit more in areas, and reminiscent of the death roads. It's kind of what I was trying to give a feel of with a few of these little trails around. And again, there's many ways to get out here. You can see just down below us the pit. There is a road that goes all the way along the bottom, so you can get there. Now this one, we're going to end up going right and up into the forest, so it, again, just going to be a lot of different choices and different challenges on different roads. A lot of them are swampy, some of them are going to be tight. Like this road, I'm going to definitely do a little more rutting over the cliff just to kind of make you maybe a little more likely to go off the side. But in general, I'm quite happy with the feel right now. See, when we get into the deeper forest, you'll notice you'll go by a bunch of little driveways and stuff, and they're just kind of old logging areas where the trees are cut down and there's just stumps. Now what I'm thinking of, when we get into this map, we have to set up the shop and basically get the logging reestablished, which will give us, as a reward for completing those missions, getting everything set up, we'll get log loading areas. Now my thought is, some of these old cutout areas that they worked on before, I'm probably going to leave a few logs in each one, like small loading areas that are hidden. Maybe not each one, you'll have to find them, and that'll give you a few logs to get the start of the missions done, to open the bigger logging area, which will be infinite after that. So I have some ideas to kind of, I guess you'd say, a stack the way the missions are going to go. So you have a few logs, you're going to have to fight through some the nicer roads are probably going to be the ones that are mostly blocked with some sort of obstruction or repair that needs to be done before you can get through. So you're going to have to kind of go grab a few logs to make some of those repairs in some of the random spots, which I don't know if I'll let you see them or not on the map. We'll see what I can do with setting up the tasks, but it's almost a bit of a Mudrunner-esque scavenge run around, if any of you remember playing that when it came out. So work a bit of that in, and then once you get the area set up, you're going to have a whole bunch of logging. There'll be some machines coming in and out, lots of recoveries on this one for sure, because it's just a nice off-road map and just a lot of spots I can use to give good reasons to have recoveries in that. You can see already we're hitting a whole bunch of intersections. I went through this in the editor on kind of the overhead look to make sure I went the right way. Pretty sure we're still on track, but it's going to be one of those maps where you're going to have to keep your eye open, because the roads aren't super easy to see, and everything's going to meander. There's not a lot of straight A to B shots, which I thought would be. This is another logging cutout, so that's a spot where you might find a few logs to begin the missions. But I'll dig into that as I start coding it a bit more and see what kind of capability I have. I am really liking this forest. It's not really tight, but it does kind of feel like old logging roads, at least the ones I've seen in around. I have a hunt camp that we go to that is quite a ways down. I've mentioned it before, a bunch of logging roads, and in general the roads are usually pretty good. So I've kind of tried to channel this. Now there's going to be bad areas right here. We're rolling into a swamp. Guarantee you there are other ways to get to where we're going. You just need to meander down different roads if you want to avoid this stuff. And we'll just turn the light back up a little bit here. Now I had some trouble getting through this in that 250 the other day in the video, but this thing's running through it pretty well. I imagine it'll be slightly more challenging with some logs. And as usual, there's going to be some antenna missions, and we're going to do a few more mining things. Like I'll probably have a small gold mining area somewhere around here that you got to run a few things in and out for. A few cottages that, you know, you go back to Middlebrook and to the farms there and have to deliver stuff out here. Again, a ton of stuff's going to be brought out for the logging camp and cabins that we're going to have to craft and load up and bring out here. Again, this shop that we're going to set up and build multiple things, that's where we're going to have some, probably the only fuel station out here. Although I am going to hide a bunch of fuel trailers that are different amounts of fullness. So you do have a few options, and most of the vehicles I leave a little bit of fuel in, even the recovery ones you can steal. You can see we're backing along the big pit here, so pretty much as far as we're going to go right now. The next spot I'm working on is kind of the logging shop area that's going to be around the back side of that lake, where we're going to be building the log road out to. And there is going to be a small dirt strip airport out here that we are going to work a mission in on the first map. When you open that airport and fix up this little runway, you'll have some service parts and stuff, a few small things that are available at that airstrip. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.